This video is sponsored by Tokyo Treat and Sakuraco, monthly Japanese snack subscription boxes. So as a lot of you are aware, Boruto, the show, exists. And because Boruto is about the next generation and the children of the Konoha 13, we often kind of wonder as fans, are these the strongest possible children we could have gotten? Let me clarify. Essentially, I'm asking the question, if other people had gotten married and had children as opposed to the couples that we see in Boruto, could the characters in Boruto be hypothetically even stronger? Like, what if Sasuke didn't end up with Sakura? What if Naruto didn't end up with Hinata and they married other people and had children? Would those children be stronger or weaker than the children we see in Boruto? And I honestly believe that I have some couples that would blow the couples in Boruto's children out of the water. But the only thing we should worry about blowing right now is blowing up my numbers. So please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. I don't like how I worded it either. But before we get into all of that, guys, I want to talk about our newest sponsor, and it's one I am very excited about. Because if you know me, you know I love to snack. And I don't think anybody out there snacks better than the Japanese. So it's with great pleasure that I introduce our two newest sponsors, Tokyo Treat and Sakuraco. These two are a bit different, so let me explain to you what each offers. They're both monthly Japanese treat boxes, but Tokyo Treat offers Japanese exclusive things like exclusive Kit Kats or exclusive ramen. Sakuraco is different because it offers you a monthly subscription to artisanal and traditional Japanese treats made by artisans. These are snacks made by local snack makers. And the real kicker is every month, these boxes are a different theme. This upcoming theme is Valentine's Day. And I know some of you got IRL waifus out there that would love these boxes. So skip the boring box of chocolates and get something that will surprise and impress them. You're not only experiencing incredible snacks or sharing incredible snacks, you're experiencing or sharing Japanese culture through the medium of snacking. And that's the beauty in the fact that there's two separate boxes here. Because one, Sakuraco gives you a look into how a traditional Japanese household might snack, while Tokyo Treat gives you a look into the more modern pop culture snacks. And here's the thing, I don't love ordering these surprise boxes myself, because you never know what you're gonna get. And even if you do see what you got, do you fully understand it? But this is what's awesome about these two boxes, is that when you open it, here, I'll show you, it's taped. We must take extreme measures. Yes, this is awesome as chakra blade. No, it's not sharp. Let's see how this goes. Not well. Don't try this part at home, kids. One more side. We did it. That's another thing I love about Tokyo Treat boxes, secure packaging. But the reason I was opening this box is to show you a very important part of the Sakuraco and or Tokyo Treat experience. With every box comes a 24-page pamphlet detailing everything inside the box and its traditional or cultural relevance to Japan. With Tokyo Treat or Sakuraco, you will never be in the situation where you're looking at a snack you do not fully understand. So let's get to understanding what I got. I was trying to read what snacks I got, but before I even got there, I realized that the pamphlet tells you things about Japanese culture. Like this tidbit right here, where Valentine's Day is actually celebrated differently in Japan, and it's actually a holiday for women to give chocolate and or small gifts to those around them. Then again, I'm currently sitting on my girlfriend's Valentine's gift to me, so I guess there is some similarities there. But let's get into the snacks. A lot of the things in here are pink because of Valentine's Day, like the strawberry milk Kit Kats. I love strawberries and milk, so I can't see where this will go wrong. I'm gonna do something that's gonna make a lot of people upset right now. That is so good. But enough on Tokyo Treat. We have a whole nother box to get into. Sakuraco. This one is also tape sealed, so we're just gonna be a bit more safe here. Turns out you can just pull the tape off. Just upon opening this box, you can see how different it is from the Tokyo Treat box. But don't worry, it comes with the same pamphlet that the Tokyo Treat box does, but detailing the treats that are in here and how they pertain to traditional Japanese culture. You can see how these are artisanally made. They're not even branded. And that can be intimidating to a lot of people because they don't know what's going on here. But once again, we have a pamphlet for this, so let's learn. These are apparently mini Anko Bamkuchen. They're small circular cakes that encapsulate small pockets of Japanese jam. Sounds delicious to me. Let's try them. God, they're still spongy. These were shipped from Japan. Down the hatch. It's still spongy. It's so moist. I know a lot of people hate that word. The jam is rich. Oh my God, absolutely recommend. And just in case you thought I was lying about the themes, we got traditional Japanese heart-shaped candies. These look a lot tastier than the ones with little love messages on them. But there's only one way to find out. Yes, I will be my own Valentine. They're crunchy and salty in the middle, but also sweet. I did not expect that at all. They're delicious. So guys, if these boxes looked as good to you as they tasted to me, hop on the wave and become a cultural snacker. Use the links in my description to sign up for either Tokyo Treat or Sakuraco. And if you guys use the codes provided with those links, you will get extra free snacks with either of your orders. But guys, please, for me, make sure you use my link. I got some snacks to eat before we finish this video. Okay, I'd like to preface here that I'm not taking love into account here by any means. There's gonna be a lot of characters on this list who have maybe talked once. Not what this is about. No, this is a breeding program. We are trying to make the strongest ninjas out there. I don't really know where to start here, so I'm just gonna start with what I consider my favorite of these couples. This is actually one of the rare circumstances in this video where I am taking love into account, but I'm also taking my personal feelings into account. Sasuke should not have ended up with Sakura. 1, he was abusive the entire show. 2, tried to kill her multiple times. 3, never reciprocated her love. And 4, only really settled down with her when he had nothing else to do. But there was somebody who was in Sakura's corner the entire show, who made sure she was okay, checked up on her in the hospital, bought her flowers. That person is Rock Lee. Yes, is Sarada very powerful? Absolutely. She could be the Hokage one day, but I believe Sarada could be stronger. And I know what you're saying,
But Nick, she wouldn't have the Sharingan.
she doesn't need it. Surprise, surprise, Nick got hot. Yes, having an optical dojutsu of any form is incredible. It's nice to have hacks. Using the Sharingan, we've already seen Sarada be able to copy jutsus. In the manga, she's already up to a 3-tome. The genjutsu abilities are incredible, but the problem is we don't know if there's a way for her to ever unlock EMS. Sasuke only has one eye left, so the only eye that she's getting from any of her relatives could be one of Sasuke's eyes, assuming Obito's lair is actually destroyed. If you guys are curious about a theory of how Sarada could get new Sharingan, there's actually a video about it right here. But think about that. Hypothetically, she has no route to a dual EMS. And because of that, people have begun to theorize that she's gonna use the Byakuya seal that she inherits from Sakura in order to heal all the damage she does to her Mangekyo Sharingan, which is great. That's lovely, except for how the Byakuya seal works. The Byakuya seal is a bit like a pool, but you don't own a hose. But what you do have is a gallon of water every single morning when you wake up. But you got to use some of that gallon of water to keep yourself alive. So at the end of every day, you take what's left of the gallon of water and you dump it into the pool. And when you need to access this pool of chakra in this circumstance, you activate your Byakuya seal. So hypothetically, every single time that Sarada wanted to use her Mangekyo Sharingan ability, she would have to activate her Byakuya seal, otherwise she would go blind. So she would never be able to store up a substantial amount of chakra in her Byakuya seal, therefore she wouldn't be able to use it for healing properties. But if Rock Lee was her father, that would be very different. Because if Rock Lee was her father, Sarada wouldn't have to worry about training her Sharingan, she would have to worry about training her 8 gates. And 8 gates is entirely about chakra control. Therefore, her chakra control would be on point in order to master the Byakuya seal. And this would actually help her with her medical ninjutsu, which we found out she's bad at through Boruto. But the true kicker is the combination of these two things. If Sarada trained in 8 gates and the Byakuya seal and she activated them simultaneously, she could hypothetically hold the 7th gate for 100 times longer than Might Guy. When Might Guy launches things like the Morning Peacock in 7th gate, the gusts of wind that he shoots in order to make long distance attacks, we see that he fractures his arm. And while they may happen to Sarada if she uses the 7th gate, it will heal instantly. And it's called the 100 healing seal because it can heal you from full death 100 times. And I'll take this opportunity to remind you that Might Guy in 7th gate killed Kisame, but that's not what a lot of people want to talk about when it comes to the 8 gates. You want to talk about the 8th gate. And I've heard a lot of people saying that she could use it 100 times. And this isn't true, unfortunately. She could only use it once and it would kill her because, and I've explained how the 8 gates work. You can see that in a video right about here. But essentially, when you open the 8th gate, you puncture your heart and you direct all of the chakra in your body to your heart. To this point that your heart starts pumping incredibly fast. so fast that it heats up the blood in your body, heating up your body temperature to an insurvivable level. And because of this, you literally burn yourself from the inside out and become ash. Here's the thing though, as your body is burning, it could also be healing. So even though Sarada would die if she opened the 8th gate, she would be able to maintain it roughly 100 times longer than Might Guy, which means 100 evening elephants, 100 night guys, 0 Madaras. Might Guy's father in the 8 gates was able to kill 6 out of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, a group so powerful they were said to be able to topple entire continents by themselves, and Sarada would be 100 times more powerful. Also, Sasuke wouldn't have got the validation of ending up with a woman who he treated like dirt for 16 years. But since we're talking about Sasuke treating women like dirt, let's talk about the woman that Sasuke should have ended up with. Nobody. Moving on. No, unfortunately, he has a Sharingan. We have to pass it on. And I guess this one also technically takes love into consideration, because Sasuke should have ended up with Karin. Does he deserve her either? No, he doesn't. But their abilities line up very well. That child would technically be a half Uzumaki, just like Naruto. So that child would have Naruto similar levels amounts of chakra. With that amount of chakra, they would basically be able to have their Sharingans activated just 24/7. They would be able to spam their MS ability if they ever got it to a degree which we have never seen. I mean, Sasuke could do like what, 2 or 3 Chidoris in a day in the OG Naruto series. This child would be able to do like 100. And don't even get me started on how long they would be able to sustain their Susanoo. They could literally just be a mech walking around all day. But Nick,
If they used their MS abilities that often and they didn't have EMS because they wouldn't have EMS, wouldn't they just go blind?
yeah, they would, except for the Uzumakis have a natural healing factor. You see, Karin wasn't the only person who was able to share her chakra with others in order to heal either herself or other people. That was an Uzumaki-wide ability. The Uzumaki's chakra was so powerful that they could just heal themselves naturally, or if they shared their chakra with somebody else, it would literally reinvigorate their entire body. I mean, Karin refilled Tsunade's Byakuya seal, a well of chakra so large that it can bring you back to life 100 times. So just like Obito, the natural healing factor that they have, because Obito had Hashirama's cells, would just stop their eyes from ever deteriorating. But it doesn't stop there, because why would it? Karin also has Mind's Eye of the Kagura, an ability that allows her to close her eyes and focus on chakra signals from incredible distance away. Essentially, Karin can focus on a chakra nature dozens of kilometers away and see if that person is sitting, standing in a room, the people that they're surrounded by. She, from dozens of kilometers away, can observe your chakra network and see if you're lying. This makes her one of the most powerful sensor type ninjas in the entirety of Naruto. I mean, this ability is effectively a Byakugan, which allows her to see chakra natures in all directions if she just closes her eyes. In fact, this ability is so strong, she can use it on herself to see if her chakra networks are disrupted and see if she's in genjutsu. But she wouldn't have to, because her child would have a Sharingan, so her child would basically be immune to genjutsus as is. So this child would not only be able to infinitely spam their Sharingan abilities, heal instantly, but they'd also basically have a Byakugan and have incredible sensor type ninja abilities. But once again, Sasuke doesn't deserve happiness, so I don't want this child to exist. But since we're talking about children that don't exist, let's talk about a child that will most definitely never exist. Mai, the 5th Mizukage, and Yamato. I know, I threw up in my mouth as well. Technically, it's age appropriate, I think, but stick with me here. Mai, the 5th Mizukage, is an incredibly powerful kunaichi, one of the most powerful in the history of Naruto. And that power is largely derived from her 2 separate Kekkei Genkai. Yes, Mai is one of the few people in the show we see with multiple Kekkei Genkai. She has lava release and boil release. Her boil release allows her to make acidic fog that literally melted the rib cage of Sasuke's Susanoo. In fact, if Sasuke hadn't been plot armored away by Zetsu, he would have died at the hands of Mai. And then her lava release allows her to shoot lava out of her mouth. And Yamato's power derives largely from the fact of his Kekkei Genkai, which is wood release. So if these two had a child and genetics did its job, they would have boil release, lava release, and wood release. The long range and sealing capabilities of wood release, when combined with the deadliness of boil and or lava release, is terrifying to think of. Imagine Yamato's Child gets you in a wood strangle jutsu, and this is a sealing jutsu. It seals you, and then they just walk up to you and cover you in lava and or acidic mist. You would be soup. Not to mention that Yamato is root trained and therefore an incredibly powerful taijutsu and kenjutsu user. This kid would be Danzo's wet dream. But speaking of making people soup, our next couple would also be very proficient at that. This one is a bit more niche, but it's because I know so much about Naruto that I kind of know that it would be perfect. Before I tell you the couple, I have to explain one of the people in the couple and what their abilities are, because you probably don't know who they are or what their abilities are. This person is Mabui, aka the 4th Raikage's assistant. Mabui can use an ability called Heavenly Transfer Technique, where she can literally send anything in a circle anywhere on Earth at the speed of light. She usually uses this on inanimate objects because when humans get sent somewhere at the speed of light, they die. The only people able to survive being sent places at the speed of light are the Raikage, who can use a lightning cloak to protect themselves, and Tsunade, who had to activate her 100 healings in order to survive being sent at light speed. But long story short, 99.9% of people, when sent somewhere at light speed, will be atomized. Only problem is they're not just gonna sit on that circle and wait for you to send them somewhere. Unless, of course, you had somebody who could make them do that. In comes Shikamaru. Yeah, combine Shikamaru's genius level intellect and his ability to make anybody basically do whatever he wants through incredible strategizing, with the fact that he can use shadow possession jutsu to move people wherever he wants, with the fact that that child would also be able to send people places at the speed of light and atomize their bodies. How do they lose? Let's say, hypothetically, this child's able to lure you into this circle and send you to the other half of the earth. Even if you do have a lightning cloak, you are on the other half of the earth. They could just send you to the middle of the ocean, and sure, you can walk on water, but did you bring any water to save you on your trip across the ocean? Like, sure, you might not be able to win every fight. Hypothetically, if you're fighting somebody like Madara who could survive the trip, but you could sure delay the fight for a while. And we don't know if this ability is only for Earth. We don't know if Mabui could hypothetically just send somebody into space. Oh no, Madara's here. Yoink, now he's on the moon and he can't breathe. But since we're talking about Shikamaru, let's talk about the person Shikamaru actually ended up with, Temari. Yes, I love Shikamaru and Temari together. It's probably my favorite ship, but Temari's abilities would have been way better suited with somebody else. That somebody else being Sai. Once again, these people have never had a conversation. This wouldn't happen in a million years, but stick with me here. What does Sai need for time to get his ninja beast scrolls off? Distance. This is why Sai often draws a bird and flies on the back of it as he launches ninja art scrolls at you from a distance. Obviously, if you get close, he's root trained. He's incredible at taijutsu and kenjutsu, so he can box. But more often than not, Sai wants to be far away from the person he's fighting. What better way to keep distance from the person you want to be painting these attacks at than high level wind release? Oh no, I don't know if I have time to finish this tiger drawing. Good thing I have this 3-moon fan. Summon Temari's weasel in order to knock that person down, or literally just slice them in half, create that distance, and get to painting with your ninja beast art scroll. So now you not only have a mechanism to keep that person away from you, but you also have other offensive options. Combination of shadow possession jutsu and high level wind release doesn't make sense, because in order to complete shadow possession, you have to be close to somebody, and high level wind release does the exact opposite of that. Also, come on, it'd be kind of funny watching Sai try to deal with Temari just as a couple. Like, I feel like he wouldn't know what to say or do in her presence. But since we're talking about Sai, let's talk about the person that Sai ended up with, Ino. Ino and Sai's abilities also do not combine well. Like, if you use mind transfer jutsu on somebody, your body is limp. You can no longer use ninja beast art scrolls. Like, sure, hypothetically, you could draw a tiger to attack somebody, sidestep, and then use a mind transfer jutsu to hold that person still. But that is a lot of work and not well organized at all. But you know what would be a terrifying set of abilities, especially for assassinations, Ino's abilities, and Shino's abilities. Would this ever happen? Actually, maybe. Ino runs a flower shop and bugs love flowers, but that's not what's important. The Abarame's bugs live inside of their hosts symbiotically. They feed off their host chakra, and then they are used and listen to their host in combat and defensive abilities. But just because we often see Shino moving his arms or his legs around in order to control these bugs doesn't mean they can't move without Shino's input. The bugs that we see Shino use to make arms or to attack people in swarms are the Kikaichu. They're a beetle with a high repopulation rate, aka they can have kids in about 20 minutes that live in the Abarame clan's bodies. Because they can regenerate so quick, the Abarame use them for things like walls or punches. But the Abarames have access to a lot of other bugs, like the Kidaichu, a bug that the Abarame clan members have to feed an exact amount of chakra, or it will grow in their bodies and slowly devour them from the inside out. They use this bug and plant it into others because other people don't know how much chakra to feed this bug, so it eats them from the inside out and then explodes out their body. Or the Kochu, the bug that killed Shisui, a bug that both paralyzes you and then poisons you. Craziest part, this poison disappears once you die, so it's completely untraceable. Or the Rinkaichu, a bug that we see is nano-sized and appears on the skin of selected users of the Abarame clan. This bug makes your skin purple, and if you touch somebody while you have these bugs on your skin, like some Abarame clan members are able to do, you can melt other people's skin off their bones. And all of these bugs can move independently of Abarame clan members. So let's say you want to get a Kidaichu into a target, right? But you're afraid the target may either perceive your bug or simply dodge it. Send your Kidaichu and tell them where to go, tell them who the target is, and they will head for it. Mind transfer jutsu, hold them still, and feed the wrong amount of chakra to that Kidaichu. Dead. Activate your Rinkaichu, then use mind transfer jutsu. Walk that person over to your sitting body and just touch your sitting body. They will melt to death. Send your Kochu at them and catch them in mind transfer jutsu to make sure the Kochu paralyzes and then poisons that person. This child would be the most effective assassin in the history of ninjas. But we're pretty far into this video and a couple of people are asking,
Who should Naruto end up with?
that's a great question, concerned citizen. Who should the strongest ninja in the history of Naruto end up with? And that's actually the one that they got right. Naruto should end up with Hinata. I know, there's some arguments for Karin or for Sakura, but let's play out these arguments, okay? Hypothetically, Naruto ends up with Karin, right? That child would have a lot of chakra, much more chakra than Boruto has, but that child would also only be 3/4 Uzumaki, which means that child would still not be able to use adamantite chains. And while that child would hypothetically have access to things like Mind's Eye of the Kagura or Karin's healing ability, it would essentially still just be Naruto, which is strong, very strong to be specific, not that interesting and not as strong as we could go. So what about Sakura? Slap a Byakuya seal on Naruto's child? How can we complain? And you're right, combining Sakura's raw strength with Naruto's chakra assisted strength would be insane. And then you combine Naruto's inherent healing factor with Sakura's 100 healings, and once again, insane. But that child would just be Sakura with more chakra. See what I did there? Which would also be very powerful, but not as powerful as we could go. No, the only way to improve Naruto's standing strength in any way that is more significant than those two is to add a dojutsu to the mix. In Naruto, we've traditionally seen that there's two ways to get stronger. There is enhancing your spiritual energy in the form of upper level jutsus like upgrading your Sharingan to a Rinnegan and things like that. And then there is the Rock Lee Naruto route where you increase your physical strength so much that it increases the strength of all of your jutsus and how much chakra you have. Naruto is already pretty much maxed out in this whole physical strength category. So in order to be like Yami and push past your limits, you have to add something spiritual onto here, like a dojutsu. In comes the Byakugan. It wasn't like Naruto could marry a female Uchiha. Combine Naruto's raw strength, chakra, healing ability with now the ability to see through walls and focus on Tenketsu points. That is a much stronger child than it would be with Karin or Sakura. But I know what you're saying. Boruto doesn't have a Byakugan. He has a Jogan. Himawari has a Byakugan, so don't at me. I have many theories about why Boruto has a Jogan and not a Byakugan. this video right about here, but let's just say that he would not have that Jogan without Hinata. She is instrumental in him being born with that dojutsu, and whatever direction they decide to take that dojutsu in Boruto, it will inevitably make him stronger in a way that Naruto would never be able to achieve. I mean, unless of course he finally just sucked it up and took a little bit of Sasuke's blood. Oh no, our Hokage now has 2 Rinnegan. Whatever will we do? That being said, because the cycle of Indra and Ashura's reincarnations are over, I wonder if Sasuke and Naruto combined their DNA, they would actually awaken a Rinnegan. I'm gonna explore that idea. But yeah, regardless, I know I made a bunch of crazy ships, but Boruto did technically get one right, and that's perfect because Boruto is the main character of Boruto. And yes, Tsunade and Jiraiya would make a very powerful child. That child would just be them smashed together. Like Sage Mode and 100 Healings would be a weird combination. Can you fill your 100 Healing seal with Senjutsu Chakra? If you can, he would be able to refill it like crazy fast. Who would you be able to summon? Gamabunto or Lady Katsuyo? Jesus, imagine if you could summon them both. And then you'd have Jiraiya's offensive capabilities with Tsunade's strength and her healing factor. That would be terrifying. But those are all the ideas I have. Do you guys have any other ideas for weird ships that would be powerful in Naruto? Please tell me in the comments below. And if you liked me rambling on about fictional characters having even more fictional children, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. Listen, I don't want to be controversial here because whenever I bring up this ship, a lot of people yell at me, but I can't go on longer without speaking my heart. So my favorite ship in all of anime ever is Sasuke x nobody.